Hi guys!
What's up, folks? It's been a minute. I have been running and gunning since basically Kentucky. We had a terrible trip down to Kentucky. I actually want to get into that on another podcast, so we're not really going to dive too deep into that. But we came back up here. It was looking real good for Indiana youth season. There was birds. It seemed like pretty much everywhere at first. At least a lot of times. I didn't really see a lot of hens, I'll be honest with you. It seemed like maybe there was a handful as far as driving around and stuff. But I've had cameras out on 3 properties, I think it is. Yeah, 3 or 4. All private, obviously. Public, you can't run trail cameras this time of year, so on public there is zero way to pattern any turkey that are not talking. As far as, unless you actually can just watch them and follow them all day, it's just not happening. It's too thick already, it's too green. Too plush. The turkeys are well hidden, and they have figured us out already. And I think they're done. I think they've hit their peak 3-4 days ago as far as what they were going to do, and now they've completely broke off and they're out of the fields. And I don't know. It's wild. We had some heat come in, and everything just got really weird, really fast. They stopped talking, and they stopped using their patterns they were on, and I mean, from pressure birds and non-pressure birds, there just didn't even seem to be a difference. So I'm not sure what's going on. It doesn't look good. Youth season was close. We scouted a lot. We did all the work, came to the conclusion of where the birds were coming and going and what we thought we could do to get them. And for the first time in Indiana, I had decoys work really well, and they came right in, and she just could not see them. I was holding my phone up because my SD card and my camera wasn't in it for whatever reason. So I was holding my phone up with one hand so I could try to capture the moment, and with the other one I was just trying to talk to her and help her adjust and figure out what was going on. And half the time she wasn't talking to me. She was just trying to figure it out on her own. And then she had an eye patch because she's having trouble closing. Those muscles have to work. I mean, I'm sure a lot of y'all remember that. But she had trouble closing that eye, so did the same thing with Lily. She was using the eye patch, but she kept bringing her hand up, and I kept, no, bring your hand down, stop doing that. And, yeah, basically they came in, did absolutely everything we've dreamed of, worked back out, came back in again a little bit to about 20 yards, and a briar bush was stopping us, and then they worked back out and left. And the next day, it was like they went across the creek from us, and they came back onto the property, and they went right back off onto another piece of property, and nothing. So, I don't know. It's been tough. Like I said, we've been close, but it's just not been the season. There's been a couple workable birds, and we choked on those moments. I've not even raised the gun yet. I personally just like to get everybody filled. Like everybody's tags done and off my mind, so I can feel like I've done right, even though it is what it is. So I'm just going to have to, I think we had 11 days yet, so I'm going to have to make something happen. Got 11 days left to go. My goal was to kill one on my birthday, so I still haven't done that. We got a few days, so on that day I'm going to be getting all the walking in I can get. I'm going to be doing a lot of hiking the day before to try to roost some birds, because I am intending to kill a bird on my birthday this year. If it happens, it happens. If not, another lap around the sun and we'll do it again. And it's just a process. I don't even know. It's just a big mess trying to figure out birds in Indiana right now. I think our biologists are probably the biggest doofuses. I'm going to be nice today. I'm going to call them doofuses instead of dumbasses, because they have fooled way too many people. There's way too many people that literally will sit there and cuck on these bastards, when in reality you can go out, especially if you spend as much time as I do out in the woods, and you can see the difference. They're not doing their job. Hands down, they're doing the opposite of their job, in my opinion. They're actually forcefully making it harder and less tags getting filled by the processes they do, which could easily be fixed. I got into this a few times, but I'm going to get into it today because I wanted to make this while I was fresh and, So it's been tough anyways, especially with kids. It's tough to get out and have anything even somewhat workable for a child. Youth season, obviously. I've got 5 kids to shuffle around in a 2-day period. That's already almost impossible, unless you just have the property, and I've never had the property like that. But basically, I think the season's so late that it's absolutely ridiculous. We're dealing with crazy heat. I mean, up in the 80s and stuff. These turkey here, I don't know about other states, but in this state, 80 degrees, these turkey are not workable. They are in the thickest of thick timber. They are not gobbling. They're worried about feeding on salamanders and worms and working their way up creek bottoms and staying cool. They're not worried about breeding past 60 degrees. They're like, oh, wait a minute, and they start to back out of the whole situation and just go to living. So that's a problem. We got a fairly late season, I feel. It's almost to mid-May, like almost right dead nuts at mid-May. So if we made it just the first week of May and then cut it off and moved that up even just a week, it would just make everybody's lives significantly better. You're going to go through and have a lot more tags filled right off the bat, but then you're going to have it shut off. So for the remainder of the breeding cycles, all those animals that didn't breed, they will no longer be pressured because the people would be out of the woods by then, and then they would be able to go about their business. It should also be up to us, and I think this should be something we should debate. It should be an earn a tag where you have to prove you've killed a possum or a raccoon or maybe a skunk or even a bobcat. Once that crap comes in with the fake extra tag they created, it should be a part of your fur bearer's license. Most states you don't even have to have a license. A lot of states you go to Kentucky and it's 3 free. You don't have to do anything. You just get your other licenses and you toss in 3 free tags on the list, and boom, you can go down there and kill your bobcats. But here in Indiana, where they protected them to the point that they're overpopulated and now have hurt multiple different species, especially the turkey population, we're now seeing the repercussions of stupidity, not conservation. They've taken it too far and made it an issue, whereas if they'd just introduced a trapping season 5 years ago, on a strict 1 bobcat tag or something, if they're that worried about them disappearing, but they're not. They wanted them to be so overabundant that it's a problem, and it literally is a giant problem. It's created an issue that it's going to take us years to bounce back from if we ever come back from this. We're at a point now where human population is a little high. Hunting human population is pretty dang high. There's almost all the properties around here are pretty small. There's some big ones, but there's a lot of little ones. But almost every single property has at least one hunter on that property during deer season or turkey season or whatever it is. So you're talking thousands of hunters you're competing with. Honestly, it's just not good anymore. It's just getting to the point where it's a struggle. Public land, I grew up on public land. My dad raised me on public land, mostly because we didn't own land, so we just went to friends or family, and we didn't have much family. So, we went where we could go, and there wasn't that many people back in the day. I mean, I didn't grow up having a lot of competition on public land. And I'm a huge fan of the hunting public. I'll admit it, I watch them all the time. But it has had a massive negative effect on the public lands. And even Tim Wells had a post recently where he talked about, bucks basically killing a mature buck on public land is kind of a thing of the past now. It's one of those things where you are either really lucky or you found a lucky spot or something. But for the most part, you're not going to go kill a 5-6-year-old giant 180-inch buck. There's almost no chance of it now. You might kill a 3-year-old, 4-year-old maybe even, but it's not a high probability, and it's getting less and less every day. And like I said, I'm a fan of the dudes. I'm a huge fan. I watch it almost every day. I watch old episodes. I watch every new one, amongst a bunch of other guys. But they are the number one, the hunting public. It literally started a mass thing. I mean, they're doing good. They're not saying anything bad. They did the same thing I was doing before it was popular, where you're talking about public land, you're showing people how to hunt public land, and you're being successful on public land, but then it has the negative repercussions of all those people who have now seen it, figured it out, watched you, figured other people out, and now they're going to dive into different public lands and they're going to try it, and it is what it is. It's just got to the point now where even places I'd hunted, literally a couple of them, like 19 years, never had anybody on trail camera, nothing. And then all of a sudden, there's cell cams in the holler. You don't know when people are in there. There's boot tracks when you're not in there. So it just got too pressured, too much, and they really migrated back to most private lands, which, that's fine. It just makes it that much harder because finding people that will allow you permission these days is another fly. Get here, you homo. But anyways, it's just another big obstacle you got to overcome because you're going to have 10 to 12 no's to one yes, and it gets old really fast because all you want to do is hunt. All you want to be able to do is go relax, go enjoy nature, maybe fill a tag or two, fill the freezer, and enjoy life. But instead they, made everything like it is. It's all double expensive now, like literally doubled all of our tags and shit. So like they're taking the pursuit of happiness and being like, you can still pursue happiness, but it's going to cost you double. That's essentially what's happened, and a lot of people just don't give a fuck. They've got the extra money to not care, and they don't give a fuck that there's a whole lower class of people who can't survive like that, especially when the conservation is failing all the way around us in the fishing and the hunting aspects. So we're having less and less and less when they're charging more and more and more. That's called a failed conservation system. And as a person who's literally lived my entire life loving nature since before I knew that it's what I wanted to do with my life, like I love nature. I'd wake up in the morning, I'd go fishing, I'd play in the creeks all day, flipping rocks, catching crawdadge, catching salamanders, axolotl, snakes of every species, tons of water snake. And no, we do not have water moccasins in Indiana. I don't know who's claiming that, but I've found maybe hundreds of thousands of snakes in my life. I've never seen one. I have seen a timber rattler, and I've seen a couple of copperheads, but a water moccasin, they must be few and far between, maybe in the southern areas, but they are not up here, almost the middle of the state. So, that is what it is. If you still believe that, you're ate up, I think. You might have a screw loose, and, or maybe you can prove me wrong, but I don't think so. So, same thing with those snapping turtle people. There's people out here who truly believe we have alligator snapping turtle in the state of Indiana. No, we do not. We have common snapping turtle. They vary in size all the way up to like 80 pounds. Somewhere around the record is 70, 80, 90 pounds, something like that. And I've seen 60 and 70 pound turtles. I've weighed them. I've helped people skin them. I mean, they're out there. They're huge, and they can definitely confuse somebody who is not as well educated in turtles, because we have tons of species of turtles here. You only have, I don't know, 2 or 3 that can actually do much to you. We have the stink pot, which is, to me it looks like a hybrid between a common snapping turtle and a matte paint turtle. But that's not what it is, but it looks like that. They will bite the shit out of you. Their head is the closest to a alligator snapping turtle that you're going to get in this state. But they're like this big at the biggest. Smooth shell, kind of round, whereas a paint turtle's a little bit wider, still kind of round, smooth shell. Paint turtle, not as likely to bite you. We have many species of paint turtles. But yeah, like there's just too many people out here believing that we have things that we do not, and they'll argue it tooth and nail, and they'll swear up and down. You can go to any DNR website you want. They can say whatever it wants, but every one of them will tell you there's not been a confirmed sighting since like 1991. So the year I was born was the last confirmed sighting of an alligator snapping turtle in the state of Indiana. For anybody who doesn't want to believe that, prove me wrong. You get a picture, not off Google, because this has actually happened. Somebody in an argument actually posted a picture that they claimed to have taken. I took the picture, threw it on Google, boom, found it. Dude was a liar. That's the problem with humans. They're full of shit. They will lie through their teeth. Doesn't matter if it's in the government or if it's in a job or if it's at school or wherever. Humans are bullshit, and we do nothing but lie. So those birds in my garage again. I know y'all have heard that. I have literally shot 40 or 50 starlings, which is an invasive species, in and out of my garage. Literally, they just find holes, tear out my insulation from my house and my garage. It is a problem, and it only started when my neighbor built this gigantic barn over here for all his work equipment, because he owns a big company, which is whatever, but he needs to start doing something, because the invasive species that he's bringing closer is causing problems with my home, and I'm having to shoot them constantly, which is costing me ammo. I've tried other things. I've tried blocking off the holes. They just make new ones. These dang flies. It's just that time of year. There's gnats, there's flies. That's another thing. Mosquitoes, gnats, and flies are really bad this year. If you hunt anywhere past, that's another thing for the season. Like, just another reason to press it a little bit forward, because you're now into the point where when you're in the woods past a certain point in the morning, the gnats and everything, the ticks are already bad. Everybody knows the problem with ticks. There's a billion problems with ticks. But then you turn over the leaf and you have the issues that come with being bit by mosquitoes. Like, you could literally die from mosquitoes or ticks, on top of whatever else gnats can do besides annoy you by literally flying it. They kamikaze into your eyeballs, up your nose, in your ears, the whole morning. Now, a week ago, they weren't out yet. So if you bumped it up, you would also eliminate that issue. And that also eliminates that much more of a problem for both humans and the health issues that could come with us being out there getting, whatever, malaria for all we know. It's just too many things. Or West Nile was a big thing several years ago. I don't know if that's still a big thing, but you know what I mean? I've never had a real problem with mosquitoes or ticks. I had one tick bite that was questionable one time. It took about 3 weeks to heal, but it never turned into anything. I didn't get Lyme disease or anything. My daughter got a tick bite once and caught Lyme disease at the beginning. Luckily, handled it, dealt with it, not a problem now. But yeah, I'm about to drink some sugar because me and Jax got our asses whooped this morning. We got up super early. We drove all the way out past the high school to a property we hunt, and for the first time ever, absolutely no birds. There was no gobbles, there was no hens, there was no nothing. Nothing entered our field, nothing entered the next field over, which you could see both from where we were sitting. I mean, the bird, there's something wrong, because the birds, even when they're not breeding, when they're done, usually you could still find them in the mornings on fields or field edges or whatever. And it was even kind of rainy, so like that's even more. For those of you who don't know, turkeys like to get out in the fields in the rain. But no, they're just not there. So Meller Yeller it is. Yeah, I'm not a big pop guy, but it was one of those things. I was frustrated, and I was coming up the hill, and when I'm trying to pace myself, because Jax is only 5, but you got to understand, Jax is not your typical 5-year-old. This kid's been running hills with me since he was like 2 or 3, especially these exact hills where we went. So the hills aren't a problem, but this heat is a problem when it's 7:38 in the morning and 7:30 or 8 in the morning, not 7:38. But, when it's this early in the morning and it's already 70 degrees or whatever it is today, it's rough. So on top of needing to move it forward, and they didn't, so we're out here struggling to kill birds that are done. They're not, they're at the point now where they're just like, we're going to go live as turkeys in the woods. They're not going to be gobbling. They're not going to be telling you where they're at. It's all about luck now. So we're going up the hill, and Jax is like, I thought he was having an asthma attack, which scared the shit out of me, because none of my kids have asthma. My wife has asthma, but I've talked her out of a couple asthma attacks, and it's one of them things where I thought instantly that he was having an asthma attack, and it scared the hell out of me because we're a long way from anywhere, like a real long way. So I yank his face mask off of him, take his sweatshirt off of him and everything. Not really, I guess it is a sweatshirt, but it's not very thick. But took his camo off of him, and he instantly cooled down. I think he was like claustrophobic from the heat. But yeah, he was fine. When we get up top of the hill, he was fine, still fine. But we were frustrated, so we went and got us a little snack, a little drink. He got a Yahoo, or Yoo-hoo, or whatever you guys want to call it. And then some Nerds clusters, because That's what he wanted. But it's one of the things where he shouldn't have, as a kid, as a youth hunter, they only get 2 days before the main season, 2 days before all the birds are pressured anyways, which, in my opinion, I think we should advocate for a week of youth season. This affects none of us. It's not going to hurt your hunting any if kids get a week of hunting. There's not that many people taking their kids, and those who do, usually are on a piece of private, not on public all that often. They're just not doing the harm that people act like it's going to do by giving them a few more days. 2 days is not hardly enough. That doesn't give them much of a chance. It's a fraction of an opportunity. But that's just me. It's just what I think. I always think about everyone else over myself, and it annoys the hell out of me that kids don't get very many opportunities, especially because they have school, you know what I mean? They have other obligations this time of year, like baseball and stuff's coming in and all that. Some kids are in cheer. So it's like, when we all have all this bullshit in our lives anyways that they've created, which we call lifestyles of fucking, regular people. Call it a lot of things, I guess. They call it life, but it's not, where you work a 9 to 5 or whatever. Some people, like, it used to be if you worked 40 hours a week, you were working. And then that started getting made fun of because everybody had to work 60, 70, 80 hours a week to really do something with their lives, because 40 hours a week you barely get by on, especially with most jobs. So yeah, it's just getting to the point where they're doing this to the kids. They're indoctrinating the kids with school. They got 8 hours a day. They got to get up early. They got to go be miserable. They're not allowed to move. They're not allowed to be kids. They want them to be kids on a schedule, and human beings aren't on a schedule. We are what we are. I knew there was a tick on me. Get out of here, you little homo. I'm going to squish him when I find him, but I just dropped him on the floor, I think. Anyways. So yeah, it annoys me, but at the same time, it's more about the kids. They don't have the opportunities like, say, we have, where some adults can go out most days, if not every day of the season. Like myself, I literally have a job that I work non-stop before season, and then I can take a break. I got to work a little bit, but I can take a break. And then back to non-stop until the next thing. So it is what it is. It sucks. I understand that's life. I understand that's being an adult. Maybe a lot of y'all don't understand what freedom is. I know a lot of people don't understand conservation like they think they do. I'm 100% for conservation. I'm 100% for protecting species for our future generations. However, in the state we live in, we see the truth. We're told the lie. Some people believe it. Some of us do not. The people that stand up for it are called whatever from these dumbasses who literally are just indoctrinated idiots who will follow every guideline down to a T. They won't ever question anything, except for when people aren't looking. Obviously, those people get away with an awful lot that they pretend they don't do, when we all know everybody makes mistakes. We all know everybody crosses a line a little bit as far as like breaking a law or bending a law. That's just humans. I don't give a fuck what genre you're in. You could be driving and you're going to break a law just going to work. Don't lie, you did it this morning. That's just how it is. I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm tired of the tiptoeing around people's feelings because they're so little-minded that they don't understand. You know what I mean? They just don't understand. They can't fathom what you're saying, what you're doing. I put up some great arguments. I've got more evidence on everything I've said, and I save it all on multiple terabytes of multiple different hard drives. I don't fuck around. But that doesn't mean that anybody gives a shit, and that doesn't mean that anybody pays attention. That don't even mean anybody could understand it if I laid it all out on a table. Although I have laid it out on a table a few times and explained and showed people in person and blew their fucking mind. But I'm just some redneck, man. Maybe I'm just full of myself, or maybe y'all are full of yourselves and you don't understand that we have a problem with conservation. We have a problem with a time frame. We have a problem with weather whenever you do this like that. And then you look at all the other states that have early seasons and cut it off early, and they have way more birds. They have a way healthier population. It seems like they have a better predator control or nest raider control system. They at least have people trying. All we have is people bitching. We got a lot of people talking and very little people actually going out and doing something. You almost got to go back, and if you're not trapping or you're not shooting these animals when you see them to help, because you do have to thin down certain populations because they're not being checked by anything. What hunts and eats a raccoon, possum, or skunk? Nothing. There's nothing out here. Maybe the occasional eagle, but I highly doubt an eagle's even going to risk it, because they can take down deer, turkey, fish, all these things easily without the repercussions of being bit by a raccoon or, you know. For those of you who don't know, by the way, a skunk is not this cute little stinky cat. It's not. It's not at all. It's a very vicious animal. It is a little Wolverine that farts, okay, essentially, and it can spray its fart at you. But a little Wolverine is still a vicious little monster. It still eats eggs. It can still kill a turkey. You don't see as many. They're a lot more elusive. They're kind of like gray fox, where they mostly come out at night. You really don't know they're there until you go out and spend time there, or you have trail cameras, or whatever. A lot of farms out in Williams, back when I was a kid, those places had a ton. But those farmers, all they're doing is farming. Which, for those of you who don't know, I've got kind of a love-hate relationship with farmers. I grew up with farmers. My entire life I've been around farmers. Every property around here, farmers, farm. Whatever, it doesn't matter if it's cattle, if it's for growing vegetables or whole crops, whatever. I know more farmers than I know regular people, I think. And it's kind of a situation where farmers don't really seem to love the environment. Maybe they don't understand it quite as well. But you always on a farm, you'll see junk piles. They'll just take their trash. They'll take their washers or dryers, their couch, whatever, when it goes out, and they just throw it in a sinkhole somewhere. You know what I mean? And that sinkhole obviously goes into the ground. So everything that's soaking into the ground and going into those underground streams are polluting in one way or another. But on top of being that type of person, a lot of farmers also use pesticides and whatnot, and it should be illegal this time of year because of how many animals are breeding, everybody knows turkey lay their eggs typically in the field edges or thickets on the field edge, but they're spending most of their time on the field edge pretty close to those eggs where they can feed around and get to them, warm them up, feed around, so on, protect them. When you come in and you spray to kill all of the vegetation and all the bugs, and then you're going to till that up and then plant, you've killed everything on top, and then you're going to kill everything on bottom, and then you're going to plant and spray pesticides on that and GMOs or whatever. And it's ultimately going to be worse and worse and worse on the environment. And this is just, I'm just talking from like one aspect. But how many farms are there? How many across the states spray? How many across the states go in and kill off everything so that they can grow a crop that won't get eaten or whatever? I understand when you're growing crops, you want some type of insurance that it's not going to be eaten, destroyed, ruined, whatever. But that's a gamble you have to be willing to take. You shouldn't be able to just cancel out all other life because corn for a cow, or we have plenty. We have plenty. Cows don't just eat corn, they eat other grain. They don't just eat the stuff we re-give them. They literally walk around and eat grass and shit like every other animal. They eat stubble and new growth and whatever. It's a problem to me. It should be a problem to more people, but I honestly don't think very many people think like that. I don't think they
care to think like that. They're too worried about getting back home in their AC, watching the new show, seeing the new thing, whatever's new posted, whatever. TikTok, blah, blah, blah. People are worried about all the wrong shit when you got everything around us falling apart and we're all wondering why. I'm not wondering why. I've been preaching it. Everybody else is wondering why. And then not doing anything or not digging or not questioning. But if every fucking field is poisoned and all those animals, and we've literally watched this, I watched it here, youth season, almost no fields were sprayed yet. We're, I don't know, what are we, a week and a half, almost 2 weeks from youth season now? And all the fields around here have been sprayed. They're all brown or dead. Some of them have already been tilled. And now you literally cannot find a bird anywhere. I drove most of Lawrence County after we left this morning with the idea of maybe I can at least see some just to confirm they're even still trying to breed. Not one bird, not a Jake, not a Tom, not a hen, nothing. They are nowhere to be found anywhere that you can see from a road, that we're anywhere where we were this morning, which was a mile off the road on a big crop. They're nowhere. They're just way back up in the timber again. They're done. So that's a problem. Whether it's just pesticides or whether it's the time frame or whatever, it can all be factored in. It literally is all a part of this ordeal. And I'm not trying to just bitch about season, because I mean, I love turkey hunting and I want to see better. But at the same time, I'm not even trying to pull the trigger. I'm trying for other people to pull the trigger, and seeing the results of human behaviors literally affecting everything. Like, it's one thing we have a house. You have your own cave, right? Then you got your property, whether you mow it or whatever you do, that's your own place to do whatever you want. You take that, and then we go on a bigger scale. We're like, that's not enough. So then we have giant fields. So that much more can't be for animals. It has to be just for us and for what we want it for our cattle or whatever. All these places combined, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of properties by the billions of acres, whatever it is, sprayed, tilled, humanified, is it a word? Humanified? Not humidified, but yeah. It's sad, man. Like, I'm not preaching this for me. I'm not preaching this for just the bullshit. I'm not trying to argue with people. I'm literally just bringing light to what I'm seeing so that maybe others who agree or are seeing the same thing can potentially step forward and we can start to do something. Because our biologists are not doing something. Our conservation officers are mostly crooked assholes. There's one or two. I did see someone mention Chad Mills. I like Chad Mills. Not going to lie. I've never had a problem with Chad Mills. The only time he's ever even tried to give me a ticket was when he was with the corrupt one. I won't even give him a name. Everybody knows who I'm talking about. Everybody knows who I'm talking about. When I tell you the corrupt one who goes around giving everybody tickets for everything he does too. Yeah, that guy. The guy who walks around lying, who I caught in a lie myself. I had a dude who literally tried telling this conservation officer that I was poaching, which was not. We won't get into it, but was not. But he basically told me exactly which officer was coming to my house. This exact officer comes to my house, tries to write me tickets, literally tried writing me a ticket. Before talking to the landowner, I told him myself, because I'm pretty sure the property he was talking about was my cousin. And I was like, have you even talked to him? Because I'm 90% that's my cousin. And he said, that's what he did. He didn't say no, he didn't talk to him. He stopped, crumbled it up, and tore up his fucking ticket that he just wrote me. That's called corruption. You're going to give me a ticket for trespassing when you didn't talk to the landowner? And he couldn't then go back and talk to him because he fucked up. I caught him in a lie. He would have lost his job in court. Had I filmed it, he wouldn't be an officer right now. He wouldn't be doing all the stuff he does to other people. So, yeah, that's another problem we have to deal with. On top of everything already being what it is and all the shit that we talk about, then we got to combat these phony assholes who pretend to be conservation officers, and they're not. They're pricks. That's all there is to it. I've met a couple. I'm not going to lie. I've met a couple that were all right. But I'm almost 34. I'm going to be 34 in a week. And I've met 3 officers that I can... 3 that comes to my head by face. I only know 1 by name. 2 of them were cool dudes I met at random. 2 different counties. Not my county. But better people. The other one from our county, who runs kind of 2 or 3 counties right here. Just a corrupt piece of work. I don't know if he's got fucking little dick syndrome or if he's got like a high horse he's trying to ride, or I don't know what it is. I honestly don't know. I've seen some sketchy people, but that dude, I've never seen so many outdoorsmen unanimously hate a motherfucker. That dude, he's got a target on his back by I don't know how many people. That's how many people are just fed up with this guy that they've literally said shit that's like, wow, that bad, huh? Yeah, that bad. Not saying I'm involved with that, but holy cow. When you got that many people that are saying, fuck that dude, he's a piece of shit, saying he basically belongs under the dirt because he's that bad of a person, I understand. I've seen some bad people that I thought about that too. You just thought, you don't even deserve to be alive. Like, you treat people so badly, it's like a crime against humanity, the way they treat us. But, you know, that's just one dude that really puts a bad name. There's a couple that I met that was really sketchy too, but that one in particular puts a really bad name on the rest of the conservation officers. And if anybody is out against the people, it's that guy. He's not for the people. He's not for conservation. He's for feeling like a big dude. He wants to feel like a man. That's not a man. Men don't lie about tickets for whatever reason he does. He writes a ticket any chance he gets. It's like he just loves to write. Like, write a book, dude. You're in the wrong profession. How someone hasn't dealt with you, I don't know. But your days are probably numbered if you're pressing it that hard with people that just about anybody your name's brought up around, they're like, fuck that guy, blah, blah, blah. That's fucked. I might have a handful of crackheads that don't like me. They ain't fucking doing nothing about it. Smoking crack with their boyfriends and girlfriends and talking shit about me, but they still ain't doing nothing. Pussies in a fucking room together. Fucking dipshits like coyotes flock together. It's just how it is. So you'll see a bunch of dipshits take up for a bunch of dipshits. No matter how bad they are, they're like, oh, that's my person, he's not that bad. Like, dude, he beat up someone's grandma and done some meth off her ass cheek while she was unconscious or something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you can do meth off an ass cheek. But, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, I'm sick and tired of some dumb shit. Y'all are sick and tired of some dumb shit. I see it on social media every day. But then no one wants to really bring up anything that actually matters out loud because they're afraid of what people will think. They're afraid of what someone will do. I'm just not afraid of your guys' bullshit. I'm not afraid of the fucking manipulating, the lies, the law breaking, which the laws they're breaking are our laws. Like, they're breaking shit that would protect us from them, essentially. They're making us all criminals for shit we didn't do. Like, there's a whole bunch. Y'all can just think of your friends or family down the line of who got sketchy fucking tickets or whatever for shit they didn't really do. And then think about the things that people actually do. How many actual poachers do you know who never, like, nothing ever happens to them? Because I can name off half a dozen well-known local poachers who have never got a ticket, who are not discriminated against. They're not treated the same way like the rest of us get treated. They're literally, it's like they're, I don't know if they're snitches or what the deal is, but the worst of the worst is not being put down, but the ones that are being the honest, you know, like, say, I actually had a guy do this. He shot a bird, and when he shot it, in the background, like 20 yards further, we seen another bird flopping. The odds of that are crazy, It's on video. It's from 2023 if you guys want to go back and watch it. Crazy. But that shitty officer would have ticketed him. The one we brought it to, because it was a different county than this, that officer from their county, he took the bird, but we also live in a state where I've seen this many, many times, an accidental double kill, and they'll give them both birds, or an accidental kill and it'll be a kid and they'll give them both birds. You know, obviously a warning, because that's how it should be, which is another thing I'm going to bring up here in 2 seconds. But an accidental bird, it happens occasionally. I know a guy, he's a taxidermist out, I think on Sandpit. His story was, he went with his CO buddy, they separated. He shot once, killed 2 birds, came back, he's like, I only heard you shot once. He said, I did shoot once. Got 2 birds, let him have both of them. It is what it is. I'm not arguing against that. If it happens, it happens. Taking it makes no sense. Write a warning, let them have the meat, go on about your business. You're not taking that and giving it to some random family that needs it. That family needs it right there. We all need food, do we not? So why give it to someone else when that person would gladly eat it? You already know they like turkey. You don't have to risk the opportunity for that to spoil in your truck or whatever they do. You know, but that's just me. That's how I feel. But, so back to the warning talk. They almost never give warnings. And I went through hunter's education. A lot of the laws that we have to follow, you do not learn in hunter education. You learn the baseline, it's safety and whatnot, you know, property lines and, you know, just crossing fences safely and that kind of stuff. You learn the basics. But they don't give you every rule for turkey, every rule for waterfowl, every rule for deer, every rule for pheasant, whatever. They don't lay out all those rules for squirrel or whatever, so on and so on. They don't do that during hunter education. So when you're out there, whatever you didn't read, or I've read the book, it changes from time to time, but every year I'll grab it up and I'll look it over. But that don't mean everything's in there either. I'm 100% because I've seen, for a fact, seen the laws not in the book, and you had to go find it or talk to a CO yourself because it's a gray area or it's just not properly wrote down, or whatever it is. But there's a lot of laws that are not in the book. Plenty. They can't pretend that you are supposed to know everything. Even in school, you do 12 years of school. The only laws you learn are the ones people talk about. They don't have any courses in regular school, which we all live in regular land. This is America, is it not? So why are they not teaching us every law in school, let alone every law in hunter's education? You know what I mean? I just feel there's a lot of bullshit. I'm one of those people that'll bring it up. Some people give a fuck, some people don't. But at the end of the day, we've got to start thinking, all right, that doesn't make sense, so let's figure out what does make sense. Or let's get together, certain coalitions on turkey or waterfowl or whatever, and let the people decide, the actual people, not these rich people who've got 10,000 acres to themselves, and you know what I mean. They're not the same people as the rest of the people who are out struggling, having to hunt public land or having to hunt micro properties or whatever. We're not the same. Those people have significantly more money. They don't care when the tags go up. It doesn't affect their lives like it affects ours. $40 doesn't affect some people. It doesn't. $40 over here on the other line completely affects somebody. Some people can't even afford $40 for a week. They got regular life to pay for, which is already expensive, which they made it that way. Then you got to come up with this tag, this stamp, that, blah, 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 blah. You can't just grab a hunter license or a fishing license and be good, in case you guys didn't know. For those of you who watch this channel who do not know about laws, you don't buy a hunting and fishing license and just get to go out. It's not how it works. You then have to get your deer tags. Each deer is a different tag. You then have to get your spring and your fall turkey tags. There's an entire set of rules around both of those, different rules too. And then your pheasant, your squirrel, if you hog hunt, there's certain rules. There's no laws because we don't have very many hogs here. I've never even seen one in this state, let alone killed one. But yeah, there's just a ton, and everything has its own thing. Everything has its own stamps and fees and permits and tags and blah, 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 blah. By the end of it, a real sportsman, somebody who lives in the outdoors, to follow all the rules, you've got a few hundred per person, not counting if you pay for your wife's tags, not counting if you pay for your children's youth licenses, which went from $7 to $12, nearly exactly double on kids' licenses. What do you gain from doubling a child's fees to go out and live? You're already affecting our pursuit of happiness because hunting and fishing is natural. Hunting and fishing, every other species in this entire country can just do, except for humans, which I understand. Humans kind of suck. They do some stupid shit, they go over the line, which is where you get into these people break laws or whatever, they should be caught, or, hey, they broke a law, go check them out. It should be a call-in. You shouldn't be out patrolling, looking for problems on the people, stressing people out when they're not doing anything wrong. Call in. Which I'm kind of the same way with police officers. I feel like it should be a call-in situation, except for highway speed control. But they should be called for other shit. Like, if something's going down, call. Not, they see two people fist fighting in their yard, that's not their problem. They should just drive on by. That's my opinion. Maybe I'm crazy. But every animal out here fights, okay? Every animal out here eats. We do the same shit. We fight, we eat. And you guys want to outlaw both? You want to outlaw basic instincts? I'm sorry, but that's stupidity. You think we're above animals, but we're not. Just because we can speak and talk about it, and some people are pussies and some people are compassionate, whatever. Some people have an attitude, some people don't. Some people have anger issues, some people don't. Some people go about their entire life and do not one good thing. Some people go about their entire life and do not one bad thing. But they're all treated different kinds of shitty by the get up of a system we have. But it's just me seeing what I believe are problems, and maybe I'm looking at things from a different perspective than a lot of other people, but most of my life I spend amongst nature. I'm just another creature trying to get a meal. I have a bunch of rules around that meal. I can only do a little to get the meal, but I'm just another creature. I spend a lot of time in the woods, a lot of time observing, a lot of times with trail cameras, and I've got it all saved. That's my life. I love hunting and fishing. I love my family, and I want them to be able to be involved, but I want them to be able to be successful. They can't be successful with the crappy system we have now unless they're the luckiest people in the world and we pick up several more properties or something. It's just all there is to it. Like, I know some people out there don't have these struggles. Some people don't have to go out and really grind trying to find a bird. Some people don't have to grind and try to find properties to hunt. But other people do. Other people really have to struggle. They got to put in the work. And by the end of the day, it may not even matter. You may put in all the work, all the time, all the effort, all the extra money, and still come out with nothing because it's so late. All the pesticides have pushed them off. The birds are done breeding. Whatever it is, whether it's that, both, all, more, who knows? I'm just saying what I think I see. I see problems. I'm not seeing good conservation. I'm not seeing... Truthfully, I can take you to dozens of tree stands not that far from parking spots, locked in the tree, screw-in hangers, screw-in steps. Where are these people that... I always see the posts where they go out and they take all these stands and they auction them off or they try to find the owners or whatever. Where are they now? Like, in my area, they are not around on our public lands. I can I can assure you there's people camping out with their gear, basically laying claim to those areas, because when you come up on a tree stand, you're going to go, oh, someone already hunts here. I'm going to go different area this way, whatever, that way, whatever. So every time you come up on a tree stand, now this spot's taken, that spot's taken, this spot's taken, and they're all illegal with screw-in steps and screw-in bow hangers and lock-on stands that haven't moved in 2-3 years, growing into the tree, doing harm to these trees, and yet they're going to get you for any little dumb thing you may not know. But these other people, they're not going around patrolling properties, they're not cleaning up properties. They got lake enhancement fees tied into your fishing licenses and other shit, and they do no lake enhancement. No lake enhancement. It is still a stage 3 and getting worse. It's going to be a stage 4 within the next 3 years, if not worse than that. It could be a stage 5 by then, which is literally a do not eat. If it becomes a stage 5 and they're still not preaching it, it's all about the money. It already is all about the money, because they don't really advertise it in Lake Monroe, because they would lose their ass if the majority of people were like, whoa, I heard of Lake Monroe, pregnant women shouldn't even swim in it. Because of stage 3, they should not. Which this was the park ranger that told me this. This isn't me. I didn't come up with this. I don't have the gear to go test the water myself. They test the water. They tell us. And it's just not being publicly pushed so that people are actually aware that it's an issue and not just a thing. It's a thing, but it's bad. It's a bad thing. Our fish are already contaminated. Our water's contaminated. Everything around it's contaminated. The animals that are eating and drinking, swimming, whatever, they're contaminated. We just got to go about it like they're doing some great job in conservation? No. They're failing. They've been failing. It's gotten worse since I was a kid. When I was a kid, in the winter, there was flocks of 300 to 500 birds out in Williams, out in French Lick. Just certain places had massive flocks. And the other flocks were still 50 to 100, the small flocks. Now a big flock is 50 at best. I'm not seeing anything past that. I've got a flock in my Avoca property that's maybe, and it's not my property, it's a property I can hunt, maybe a dozen hens or more, and in the entire area there's less than a dozen Toms and Jakes that I know of. But there's a crap load of bobcats. I see possums, I see coons, I trap them, I do what I can. I'm almost going to have to go back to like when you were a kid and possum kicking was a thing, but I'm like, I got such a passion for animals that my body just doesn't want to kick something to death. My body doesn't want to go out and trap and kill these animals, but we need to. If we do not do something with these certain specific animals that I've listed, turkey would be a thing of the past in no time. That lie that they got everybody believing about them almost being extinct, and they brought them back from the brink, even though there was absolutely no proof that they could check every single county in every single state in the entire country. There's no proof that they did that. There's no proof it's even possible back then. It did not happen. They did not do a real count. It's a made-up number. Anybody that believes it, kudos to you for having that blissful mind that I wish I had, because it's a lot less stressful when you don't think about these things, but I have to think about them. The numbers don't add up. It's not even possible. We didn't even have drones back then. It's not possible to know every bird in every single county of every state. It's not possible. So, you believe it if you want, but it's a problem. We're seeing less birds, more issues, and they're honestly just not doing good. I think it's negative. If you look at the government as a whole, and it's just a part of the government, you look at the government as a whole, it doesn't really scream good for humans. It doesn't scream good for us. It screams revenue. It screams control. But then you have too many people who don't see the truth. They see what they want to see, and that's cute and all, but it's not real. It's a facade. You can believe if you want. I do not. I've watched the numbers go down, both deer and turkey. Grouse are basically gone. I even had a conversation with a guy on Facebook the other day. He said that he has one place he still sees grouse, still hears them, they still scare him, but for the most part, no. And he said that he's never seen or heard of a bobcat. Well, I've never seen one, but he's heard of one or two. So I'm guessing that area doesn't have the bobcats like the rest of this county and whatever else. But the bobcats are way bad. I've got half a dozen just within a mile of my house on trail camera, all different. I had 3 in Avoca alone. It was a mom with 2 cubs hunting. You know what I mean? And that affects everything because they're not going to pass up opportunities to eat wild. They don't have to pay for tags. Whereas humans, we do. So, it is what it is. I don't really have very many points to talk about today. That's pretty much it. It's turkey talk. Turkey talk and turkey issues. Yeah. Other than that, drinking gross pop is making my eyeballs water. But, yeah. So, we are still grinding. We got till the 11th. Still have all my kids' tags. Still have my tags. Still have Tiff's tags. Kentucky goes out on the 4th. I don't think we're going to make it. We're only an hour and a half from the line. We're less than 2 hours from one of my public land properties I hunt. But I don't think we're going to have the time. So again, wasted all that money. Probably, no, not probably. I'm 100% never going back to Kentucky. They've lost my business. And you can take that however if you're a Kentucky resident or whatever. But Kentucky residents pay less money annually to hunt and fish. They actually, if they still do, they had like a bundle that covered most of that. We don't have that here. My out-of-state licenses is double what you guys are paying. Out-of-state hunters are doing more for conservation than in-state hunters in probably every state. But it's just my opinion. I could be slightly wrong on that, but I don't think so. I think judging by the amount of money difference that an out-of-state hunter is bringing in versus an in-state hunter, we do more. But it was bad. The conservation there is not doing well either. I don't know what is going on. They destroy their public lands just like Indiana, where they come in and destroy it all and pretend it's habitat management. It's not. I don't know what you call that in your head, but that's not management at all. It's not managing anything if you're destroying and not making things better. So, yeah, lost my business. I will never come back to that state and waste another dime. I don't know. I don't really care what you think on that. You could think I'm being a crybaby or whatever the fuck, but that place sucks. It went from 2018, I think, is the first time I went. No, it's not true. 2018 is the first time I had luck. But from then to now, nope. Polar opposite. It's like being garholed on a whole state damn there. So, not doing it anymore. We're going out west from here on. We will be going after Rios or Golds or Goulds or however the fuck you say it. Merriam's is my #1 turkey I want to hunt. Osceola would be cool eventually. I'm not going to press for that one because it's just a darker bird. It's just a darker eastern to me. It's cool and I'd like to have one eventually, but I'm not going to press for that right now. I'm really thinking New Mexico and Texas is going to be my next trips. I'd like to go to Nebraska. I'd actually love to go to Nebraska. I've got several places picked out, and I'm already scouting and trying to figure stuff out. I'm doing the math for next year, but yeah, this year and last year was it. That convinced me I am not burning any more money, not burning any more time. Kentucky is not good. It's not where it's at. It's gone way downhill. You know, but yeah. So Kentucky's a crap hole. I love the woods. I'm not gonna lie. I love the landscape. I love the nature that is there because some of it's still kind of primitive compared to here, where we're now getting so overpopulated and developed that we don't have quite the diversity of like lower ecosystem wildlife like we used to. Kentucky reminds me of my childhood basically, where it has a lot of that still. But I'm done with it. I'm done going to that state, wasting money and time and getting nothing out of the deal. So I enjoyed what I accomplished there over the years. I enjoyed the turkey I've killed. I enjoyed the deer I've killed. I enjoyed them more than one way, obviously. Absolutely love the food. That is a big part for me. But at the end of the day, you can't spend that kind of money and come back with no meat at all. Like, I'm a meat hunter. It's an expensive version of meat hunting. You're looking for a little adventure tied in there, and you're getting almost none of it. So it's like, it's not even gambling. It's just that bad. So I'm just like, no, I'm out of there. And a couple other people have told me the same thing. They're going west, but I'm 100% going west next year, and probably will never hunt another eastern Kentucky state unless I'm invited somewhere that has some for sure birds. But it ain't going to be me tracking on crappy eastern territories no more. I'll be hunting Indiana and places out west. But that's all. I don't have a whole lot more to talk about, I guess. We have not been successful. There's no meat. There's been no turkey nuggets. There's been no turkey strips. There's been no turkey rocks for any cool, collective purposes. No stones, as they call them. But yeah, I think that's about it. I don't really have much else to say. I just wanted to get on here and talk about a couple things, bitch about a couple things, bring things to light that maybe some people aren't listening to, and yeah, hopefully we'll be successful in the next couple days and sing a little bit of a different tune. But as of the moment, we're still struggling. We're really working hard to get the kids and us some tags filled, but I don't foresee anything grand happening. If we fill 1 or 2 tags at this point, I'd be happy. But I would, but I wouldn't. I'm pretty disappointed as of the moment already that we haven't got anything filled, just because we've had a couple opportunities, a couple missed opportunities, a couple missed birds. Yeah, you'll see all that if y'all stay tuned. I'm starting to post the videos as I'm getting them edited. It takes extra time. You know what I mean? I'm trying to hunt right now. I'm really, balancing what I can. Pretty much when it's too hot, I'm at home. I've drove around whenever I can. It's just not, they're not out. There's no birds. You can't stop anywhere and fire one up, nothing. So it is what it is what I say 9 times a day. But we're going to keep pressing, and I'm actually potentially supposed to hunt with an old buddy. I've got an old video, which when I restarted this channel, I didn't have anybody on my side. Like, it was just me. So I restarted it as just me and my family, and then what friends came along from there. But there's a whole past where my old channel was all my old buddies we used to hunt with, and I've got a bunch of videos from back in the day. I'd like to do some throwbacks, like especially if I end up going with this guy and we end up killing something. Definitely want to bring that video back to light. I don't think it's even on YouTube anymore, because I'm pretty sure I deleted that other account completely. So that'd be cool. That's his first turkey on film. That was our first turkey together. We almost doubled. It was one of those things where, knowing what we know now, we would have easily doubled. These birds gave us everything we dream about every day now, and it don't happen like that. That was years ago. But yeah, so there's a chance I'll be hunting with him. If I do, I really hope I'm successful, because that's one of my friends that I always got along really good with this person, and then just life kept pulling us apart. You know what I mean? So we'll see. I just feel like it's one of those people that we've kind of always ping-pong back to each other, and I don't know what that is. Like, maybe we just are destined to kill some shit together, but one day we'll be back at it. So you'll see that hopefully here soon, and hopefully we're successful and, bring back the old funny shit we used to do. So we'll see, but as of now, I'm going to get this edited up and calm down, relax. I might do a couple drives around, but it's been pretty fruitless driving around looking for birds. Just even eye candy, it just don't exist right now. But yeah, I'm gonna get something to eat here shortly. I actually got a caramel honey bun. I don't know. It's the first time I ever seen one. I figured, fuck it. Ain't like I'm very healthy during turkey season anyways. I'm eating a lot of junk food, so might as well get me a caramel honey bun and see how that goes. We're gonna have a little fun with it this season. I don't know how turkey's gonna go. It's been tough, but we're gonna get into waiting right after this. The wiper have started to bite. Walleye should be biting. We don't have very many walleye left. Y'all have heard me rant about that, I'm sure. Yeah, so we got a lot of fishing coming. A lot more involved with the kids, which I think I try to do every year, try to get a little bit more with the kids and whatever. But yeah, so we get this shit dealt with and get after some turkeys. So y'all have a good day, have a good week. I hope your season's been great. I hope you tag out. I hope it is not the struggle that I'm having. Yeah, it's tough, but y'all have a great day. Like and subscribe. I don't know, comment, give me some feedback, but we'll see y'all in the next one.